And just as a reminder to all who are in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling roll, Ms. Simon.
Here.
Ms. Turner.
Here.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Mr. Shrine.
Here.
Ms. Stevens.
Present.
There is a quorum. Also like the record to reflect that council members Miller and Conwell are in attendance.
Do we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
Okay. So we have minutes from June 15th, 2022. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. First matter referred, I'm just going to cite that we have Resolution 2022-0150 regarding the water economy initiative, which it's on the agenda today, but we will not be discussing this at this time. It's going to be held for further review. So the next, I guess we're going to go out of order. Is that correct, Madam
Here, I have a
Clerk?
question.
Yes.
Did we skip over public comment? 'Cause you
Oh,
already
no,
knew
no,
there
I
wasn't.
asked.
Yeah, she got it. She covered it.
We don't have any. We have a lot of public, but no comments
Okay.
yet. So is this correct? We want to move item C to the beginning?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. So can we read 2022-0227?
Resolution number 2022-0227, awarding a total sum not to exceed $40,000 to the Black Professionals Association Charitable Foundation for the Career Connect Internship Program Enhancement Project.
And this is going to be a presentation via Zoom?
Both. We have
Phone?
We have both. We have in-person and Zoom.
Oh, okay. So who's going to present in person? Hello, come on up.
We have some materials we wanted to share too, if that's okay, for later reference.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your time. I'm going to be brief as we've been asked.
Can you make sure your microphone is on? Green
Okay.
light?
Yes, and I'll
And
talk.
identify yourselves.
My name is Lori Murphy. I'm the Executive Director of the Black Professional Association Charitable Foundation. And with me on Zoom is our President, Miltree Sharp.
And I'm Michelle Scott Taylor. I'm one of the board members of the organization.
And Miltree is going to speak to you about the history of the organization, our mission, vision, and the programming.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and thank you for allowing the Black Professionals Association Charitable Foundation to be before you to present our organization and our request. Again, as Lori mentioned, my name is Miltree Sharp, and I want to talk to you a little bit about who BPACF, that's the acronym that we use to describe ourselves, who we are as an organization. I'm not sure, are the slides up, or are we going to use the slides during this presentation? Because I can't see any.
Your slides are up, it looks like.
Okay, perfect. So if you can advance to the next slide. So BPACF, we were founded in 1985. Our founders at the time was Arthur Baker, Nancella Harris, and the late Tanya Almond. Our mission is to create opportunities for African-American professionals by providing scholarship, leadership, and career development. At the time when this organization was founded, it was truly founded to be able to act as an opportunity to bring African-American professionals together to create community and camaraderie with each other. These were, at the time, African-Americans that had experienced promotion and were in leadership roles in corporate America, but they were having a difficult time with connecting and building community. So this organization was put together in order for that to take place, in order for African-Americans to come together and to help elevate each other, help motivate each other, encourage each other, leverage each other's networks, and really aid each other in their growth and promotion. But our vision as an organization is to be a catalyst that prepares and develops emerging professionals and celebrates distinguished leaders. If you don't mind advising the slide. The way that we do this is we work with high school students and college students. So this is at the pre-professional level. So our goal is to really touch the professional at the time when they are aspiring to become a professional, all the way until they become the esteemed professional that a lot of us know in our community and recognize as influencers. So at the pre-professional level, we offer scholarships, we offer career coaching and professional development, internships, internship navigation assistance, and micro internships. At the professional level, we offer professional services. We do things like networking events. So we have professional networking nights out, and we offer professional and career development, philanthropy and civic engagement. And I like to stop right here for a moment just to say that as a inner city African American student, I didn't understand what it was like to be in college, what were the challenges that I would encounter coming from the inner city to college. And I had challenges with funding my college. So it was an organization like BPACF that allowed me to give me gap funding, that mentored me along the way, that allowed me to ask the dumb questions because I just didn't know how to navigate. And really, I attribute a lot of my success and my successful completion of college for an organization like BPACF, which is why I am so tied closely to the mission of the organization. So at the high school level, we're providing gap funding, we're providing mentorship, we're providing internships and an opportunity for our African American students to come to a safe and non-judgmental place to ask the questions that they may not be able to ask other people. And also with the internships, access and exposure is really critical for our students, underserved students, just to make sure that they can successfully complete college and get experience that their counterparts are getting. So when they enter the workforce, they will have that experience and they won't have some of the challenges with students that lack that experience. So we do that for the pre-professional and the college level students. Then we provide events for the professional to get more experience, become developed, and create a network so that they can continue to grow within their organization. And then for the esteemed professional, we provide opportunities to give them recognition. And we do that by way of our awards gala, our Black Professional of the Year, which is one of the most revered galas in the African American community. It's one of the most highly attended galas that we have in November of every year. We have anywhere from 800 to 900 people attend that. We recognize a Black Professional of the Year that embodies our vision and our mission. We also recognize trendsetters. These are our people that are setting trends in our community. We recognize lifetime achievers. We also give a legacy award. But one of the things that we're most proud of is our Black Professional magazine, where we profile all of our hidden heroes and sheroes, and we provide information to the African American community that, relevant to their growth and their development. So that is who we are as an organization. And I will hand it off to Lori, where she can talk about our programs.
Thank you.
And specifically the programming we're seeking funding for.
Yes.
We have 3 programs that come under our Emerging Professionals programming. There are 3 things. There's College of Career Series, which is a talk and career exploration, exposure for high school as well as college students. This year, coming out of the pandemic, we are shifting to new relationships and enhancing relationships. We are a PACE partnership organization, so we look forward to that with CMSD, and we look forward to expanding that piece. We'll be coming in to talk to students about, in 11th and 12th grade, about what to expect in college, things that they didn't know they need to know, the real deal about financial aid, and things of that nature. The BPACF Scholars Program is our scholarship award that is funded through our gala. But what we do for that is we work with students year-round, providing them a small scholarship, but also one-on-one support as they talk through and navigate, many of which are first-generation students. So there are questions and navigational things that we can do, especially with the investment in this new student success officer in January, they weren't able to do before coming out of the pandemic. So we've been able to see definitely a turn. Also assisting them in resume preparation and interview prep. So we've been able to have 16 students this year assist them in securing basically internships for the summer and looking to grow that. And then the third program leg is Career Connect, which is open to all students in college. And we provide boot camp for them to help them understand the soft skills that are needed to transition to work, help them to really think about how they are going to be in that space and provide that at external touch base with them. We also help them with their interview prep for that also. But most importantly, we have provided since 2008 stipends of support for students to help them in the summer as part of this work experience in small businesses and in some corporate places. But we put our funds in supporting students in BIPOC businesses in the community who do not have the bandwidth to pay, but had the experience and also had the concordance to connect with a young African-American student and talk to them about what that looks like up with their professional skills. And really, that's the program we're looking to expand even more. We're coming off of informing this model off of our airport partnership, our aviation partnership, which we just closed out, which showed us a really good retention rate for college, a graduation rate of really 56% overall retention graduation, because there are a few students still in school, of 72%, and 50% of the students have remained in jobs in Cuyahoga County. So that's really a real gain to what we do in our community. And those are the three programs that we're talking about, but we're really focusing on the Career Connect program for the funding. Next slide, please. This slide's fine, yes. So what we're looking for is the support, again, coming out specific to pandemic funds, one-time support to support stipends in this instance. But the program itself is about micro projects. We are, as we speak, have three students now, working in a minority organization, learning at this point graphics and also nonprofit management. They are doing real projects that help build their resumes. One young lady had no experience and is about to graduate. So that leg up is really important. And actually, it's a commonality now for students coming out. If you don't have real work experience in your major, you're going to be challenged to find a job in your major in a shorter amount of time. The estimate is about a year to a year and a half if you don't have that experience, and they're having to struggle and find it. And for whatever reason, they have not been able to make that connection. So the host organization provides time and talent and mentoring with that student, helps them to understand how the world of work goes, doing projects that actually help the organization as well as the student. And so that's the win-win we're talking about. So I think those are the points I covered there. Can you go to the next slide, please? And so the question around the use of funds for what we're going after, this will specifically go, our budget is $143,000. We're looking specifically, in this case, for funding for the student stipends for $40,000 to support students. It also helps them to fund the gap in their financial aid packages. Most low-income households do not have that gap funding when the FAFSA was calculated, and thank God they have raised the amount that's covered, but it's just not enough. So it helps students not to have to work as much during the academic year. It also helps them with their living expenses and computer. One of the students will be buying in graphics, will be buying her first computer that will help her when she steps out in a year to be competitive in the marketplace. And so that's actually very, very exciting to hear. Next slide. Okay. We'll be doing short-term as well as short-term tracking about what's occurring in the program as we have in the past. So that will include looking at the number of students that we have touched, how many we've matched, how many come into the boot camp. We will still be doing those things with other funding, both from our organizational funding streams and support, as well as intentional grant writing. So we actually have been working on that very diligently, and things are moving forward, and we have secured, for example, funding for United Black for another $10,000. We just got that notice, so very excited about that. And we're looking at the number of projects that are going to be completed, the number of hours worked, the numbers of stipends awarded. And then we'll also be tracking also the program retention, their experience in their academic year, how they're moving forward to matriculation, whether or not they have moved on to other internships outside of the initial ones, because we do see that also happening. About 25% of our students are going on to get subsequent internships based on the skill sets they've been arriving with us. And then, of course, our retention rate with the county post-graduation and their time to their first job, to see if that really makes a difference in terms of that time to that first job within their field. And then the placements also of students that are within our boot camp who we do not provide a stipend to, but we will support. And this last slide
I'll take it.
is for Michelle.
So essentially what we're hoping to do is kind of build the talent in Northeast Ohio. We know with the population of African Americans and the gap that we have with African Americans in the workforce, it's important that for students, young people who are trying to figure out their way, that the support we provide will actually do that. So we're hoping that you can help us offer these very specific, targeted, intentional internship opportunities where students are paid, because as you know, lots of times internships are not paid. And so for lots of our students, that's a struggle and they're not able to take advantage of that opportunity. We need them to take advantage of these opportunities because usually they're designed around the course of study for that young person, whether it's a technical degree, whether it's a 2-year degree, or whether it's a 4-year degree. And so giving students this experience puts them in a position that's a little bit different than what traditionally happens. As you all may know, lots of students that do graduate from a post-secondary program still have challenges finding work or finding work aligned with what it is they studied. And so we have a mismatch or a gap between the jobs that are available and then the students or the young people who are eligible to take advantage of it. Part of that gap also is the experience that when they walk off, when they leave their post-secondary program, they don't have the experience that some of our employers are providing. BPACF is also proud because we do support minority-owned businesses as well, as Lori mentioned, who often don't have the capacity to hire, and so these internships provide opportunities for these businesses to build capacity, get work done, and then the mutual benefit of students being able to have this experience that, again, they can put on their resume. We've been doing this for a long time. We're looking to deepen that work. As you know, COVID has kind of put a monkey wrench in what we've been trying to do. So this funding will really help us kind of refresh, re-engage, solidify this program as an opportunity. And again, we will be partnering with the consortium, the career consortium that's formed in Cleveland, that's going to be expanding across the county, as well as our partnership with College Now. Some of you know I work with College Now. So we'll be leveraging scholarship opportunities, just really trying to make 2 + 2 = 5 and not 4 is what our goal is. And we think we'll have much more success. So we appreciate your time. We will stop and see if there are any questions from you all. And thank you for letting us present.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Questions from committee members? No questions. Dale, non-committee member, go ahead.
There's a question from a non-committee member. And my question is what is a micro internship and how is that different from a regular internship?
So generally speaking, a micro internship may not be a semester. So when we think about internships, they're usually based on a student's semester in a post-secondary program. Micro could be 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and often ours are kind of a summer experience. So it's just a little bit, usually it's a shorter time frame than what people typically think of as an internship experience.
And because they're shorter, they're very targeted. And so you get that, you're not just there kind of shuffling paper, you're there to do something to make an impact that's needed very quickly. And you got the win-win for both student and the organization.
With our companies, I'll just share that we try to outline.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Could
I'm
you
sorry.
step closer to the mic?
Step over to the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just wanted to add that often what we try to do is work closely with the employer to develop the work plan in collaboration with the employer. So again, we don't have students just learning how to make copies, though that's very important. We try to make sure we're clear on the expectations from both the employer side as well as the student side. And we do a lot of prep, which is another missing link in our community. The prep that's needed for a young person to step into a workplace we think is very important. And we've been called upon by organizations in Northeast Ohio to help them prep and get ready for students to come work in their places of business.
Thank you. Okay, Councilwoman Stevens and then Conwell.
I just wanted to confirm something. We are speaking of $40,000 for 10 students to participate. Is that correct, approximately?
Yes, and for the stipends, correct. We will be supporting the other students in terms of the boot camps and information, but there are 10 students who will be working specifically in minority organizations, and those are the funds for that.
Thank you.
Through the chair to, how many students have you served thus far?
Sorry. We have served approximately, over the last 3 years, and I can speak to that, but the last 3 years, we have worked with approximately about 30 students in their internship piece. We expect to increase that as we bring in a new cohort of 36 students shortly, like in 2 weeks. And our full-time student success officer, who started in January, will continue to work with them. So we're looking to ramp that up pretty quick based on the capacity of our staff.
And how are the students identified?
They submit applications through the program, and then we also reach out to our board who also recommends students. We reach out to our small business community who might know students, but we start with our first cohort of students.
And one last final.
We also partner with the high schools and some of the colleges and universities.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure, thank you. Councilman Tron?
Thank you. And what is the method of communicating so that they know that they're out there? Because that marketing is usually the biggest thing to find. It's amazing how much scholarship dollars sometimes doesn't even get utilized because the kids don't apply for it. So how do we get the number of kids to hit that target?
Well, social media and emails, and we send out the email blast, constant contact blast. We send that through LinkedIn.
And then through my organization, I send out promotional materials because we're in every Northeast Ohio high school for the most part. So we send out promotional materials via that effort. And also through our mentoring program, we also send out materials. And then as Lori mentioned, just personal relationships with members, partners, volunteers of BPACF. We are also a volunteer-driven organization. So lots of young professionals already out in the field or industry, they alert us to students, and they also share the materials that we have with students that they know.
So how many applicants do you think you'll get?
Well, we're gonna be cautiously optimistic because it is contingent upon the funding we have for the stipends. But Lori, do you have a sense of?
Right. So for example, our most recent cohort that we're bringing in of 36, we got, about 75 applications in general.
Okay.
So it's
So about a 2 for 1. Okay.
It's there,
That's a good ratio. All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, without any further questions from the committee, do I have a motion to move this resolution to the next full council meeting with a recommendation of passage for second reading?
So move.
I'll second it. Okay, Councilwoman Stevens, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining?
Yes.
Okay, that should get us out of committee.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for your presentation and congratulations. I was looking at the magazine. Some friends of mine are featured in there.
Yeah.
So it's really well done. And I appreciate the work you're doing. It's impressive. So congratulations. This will move out of committee to the next full council meeting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So a good friend of Gerald McNair. You know Gerald? Gerald McNair? He won the award already.
Madam Clerk, next item, I think we're moving on to Lakewood, City Lakewood.
Resolution number 2022-0226, awarding a total sum not to exceed $1,500,000 to the City of Lakewood for the Lakewood Refuse and Recycling Animal Shelter and Stockpile Yard Project.
Mayor?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of County Council. I'm Megan George, Mayor of Lakewood. It's good to be here with you this afternoon and excited to talk about our recycling center, stockpile yard, and animal shelter project. 3 projects usually don't combine into one, but we are here at the City of Lakewood. The $1.5 million in ARPA dollars that we are requesting for this project will be leveraged with millions of other dollars to make this project a success and meet numerous community-wide goals. By modernizing our recycling center, this project provides a streamlined facility where residents can drop off both non-traditional waste, from hazardous waste items to tires and construction debris, as well as processed recyclables. We currently have over 500 residents who drop off these kinds of items weekly, and by providing this updated facility, we can keep our environment clean and green by addressing potential pollutants and recycling materials that otherwise would end up in a landfill. The community and environmental health benefits of this project will be significant. The project also includes a new animal shelter that ensures safe and humane treatment of animals. With 50,000 residents, the city of Lakewood is the densest in Northeast Ohio, and because of that, the strong demand exists for our animal shelter services. We feel that our project's multi-purpose nature is well suited to have great community impact, affecting a high number of people as well as many of our animal friends. I'd like to thank Councilman Miller and all of County Council for your thoughtful analysis and review of all the projects that were considered for these competitive funds. You all play an important role and a crucial partner in helping to lead our larger community on so many issues, including those surrounding public health, environmental policy, and animal welfare. These dollars are critically important to this project. Bids have come in well over the initial budget projection and due to the impacts of COVID-19, as well as rapid inflation on materials and construction labor and related services. My administration remains committed to a continued partnership with the county on this and other transformative projects that improve the quality of life in our region. With me is City Engineer Mark Papke, who is now going to go over the presentation we provided, and we'll talk about some of the finer details of the project, and him and I will be available for questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. All right, so what we're going to talk about is our new recycling center and stockpile yard and animal shelter project. If we can go to the next slide. So our needs. As you can see, there's a large green dot that's next to our wastewater treatment plant, and that's where we're going to be installing a 6.1 million gallon combined sewer overflow storage tank. And beneath that green dot is where our current animal shelter is. We also have our stockpile yard for a lot of our city's services. Whenever we're digging up for water main replacement, emergency projects, that's our spoils yard that we use. So we have to find a new location for that. The existing animal shelter that we have is very compact. It's not favorable for the staff and for the animals. So it also needs upgraded as well. We looked over the past several years for all the different sites that we have available in Lakewood, and because we're so built out and dense, there's really not very many locations that we can relocate both the animal shelter and the stockpile yard. So the refuse project, we were able to find land to move those operations to. And if we can go to the next slide. So as the mayor discussed, we're streamlining our facility. We do have a lot of traffic going through there. A lot of residents are dropping off materials. So with this project, you could see the incinerator building is currently used right now as a drop-off point for those recyclable and yard waste materials. It's pretty small, it's tight to turn around in, and as well as that existing recycling facility is beyond its useful life. We've been band-aiding, making repairs to it, but it's always been time for it to be demolished and repurposed. So the other part of the project is the existing truck facility where we park our vehicles at. It too is in need of a new roof, HVAC, and some other items as well. So if we can go to the next plan. So this is a drawing showing our depiction of what it's going to be afterwards. To the right top is going to be our stockpile yard, which will have like an actual decanting area for our spoils so we can separate water out of the materials before it gets trucked off site. In the center is our new animal shelter. And then to the left of the existing truck building is where our addition is going to be onto that building as the new recycling center. We go to the next slide. And that kind of shows the existing building and our addition that we're placing on there. The nice thing is as residents always drive up now to our facility to drop those materials off, they have to actually get out of their car and walk around and go to the window to show their ID. Where now we're going to have a check-in hut there that's shown with a little arm bar that the operator will be able to use, but it's better streamlined. We're going to have multiple lanes for residents to drop off different types of materials depending on what they're bringing to the site. And if we can go to the next slide. And this gives you a little bit of a layout of that addition to the recycling center that we're adding in that shows the different lanes. Next slide. So our first plan was to bid the whole project out as one complete project with 3 phases going over 3 years. And we had a construction budget of $6.1 million entirely for the whole project. Our first bid that we had came back at $9.4 million. We received 1 bid. We talked to a lot of the bidders and we're trying to determine, why it was so much more expensive. And they were giving us that, the suppliers were not holding their prices for more than 30 days. So, we even had in the contract escalator that, as long as they could prove the price before, we could, in year 3, we would make up that difference, but they still weren't too confident in it. So inflation really, took this project above and beyond our budgeted amount. We can go to the next slide. So that put us to Plan B. So Plan B was to rebid phases 1 and 2, which would basically be constructing the new recycling facility, demolition of the incinerator building, performing the site work, construction of the stockpile yard, and preparing the animal shelter building pad. We received 1 bid for $7.65 million. We went ahead and moved forward and awarded that to keep the project moving along. So we have a shortfall way over $3 million, which is why we're asking for ARPA funds from the county to complete the project. We did look at all the other avenues for, recycling centers, animal shelters. There's just not a lot of grant funding available for those types of projects. Next slide. So the Plan B Part 2 is basically when we're about 3 to 6 months away from completing phases 1 and 2, we're going to go back out to bid for the animal shelter by itself. There's a little bit of some of the statistics there about the existing facility versus the new facility. We're almost doubling it in size. The amount of dogs that we get are it's 7 kennels that we have now. This one's going to actually provide our quarantine. And then we're at 23 cages there, and we're going to be able to house 30 plus cats. We've had extensive review with the animal shelter through Animal Arts and our Lakewood Animal Safety and Welfare Advisory Board. They took great care to look at every single detail of this animal shelter to make sure that we're providing a safe and stress-free environment for our animals that we intake. The facility intakes about 120 dogs per year and about 200 cats per year. And here's a little depiction of the new animal shelter. Like straight ahead, there's like a little patio area that's going to be for the cats to play outside. And then in the very rear, you can see the exercise yard for the dogs as well. So the project, it has multiple benefits. Care for natural resources and clean water benefits to the Rocky River by, being able to move these facilities over to our refuse to make room for our 6.1 million gallon CSO project. And then the continued and proper care of stray dogs and cats in Lakewood. With the project, we've added in some new electrical vehicle charging stations, and we're going to be reusing solar panels that are on the existing refuse building and providing LED lighting. Our project, it impacts all of Lakewood residents and our businesses as well. And we thank you for your consideration and support. And those are my two cats that I rescued. They were found abandoned in a house in Akron, and I've had them for about 2 years. They're probably sitting in my chair at home right now, but they appreciate the support as well for their feline friends.
You found the
Thank
right
you.
chair for this pitch. Any questions from committee? Sharon?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The tank that you're going to be doing, holding of the rainwater and the consolidation of stormwater, why didn't it go underground? Like, is the cost differential bigger to go underground, like the sewer, the combined sewer on the big digs and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Rocky River there in through Lakewood. There's about 100 feet of relief from the top of the road to where the wastewater treatment plant is. So we're trying to utilize gravity as much as possible. The other thing is that we're in a floodplain, so we have to have the tanks are going to have to be at least 10, 15 feet out of the ground because of the fluctuation of the Rocky River in that area.
Okay, but at least as I understand, the combined sewer for the sewer district, they went and they put a big hole in the ground as opposed to putting external storage. That was not a possibility of leapfrogging in the back of the sewer district to do anything like that, where you could punch a hole in the ground and store it underneath the ground?
Yeah, I think just with it being in the floodplain, we're going to have to pump the water, and it's all bedrock down through there. So above ground storage tank is the best alternative and cheapest alternative for the city.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilman Miller.
Just a comment that I'm very excited about this project because of the multiple benefits that it enables the stormwater project. It creates the new recycling facility and the animal shelter, and I think it's a high impact project that benefits a lot of people, and I would request the support of my colleagues to move this forward. Thank you.
Okay, I have some questions. One of the questions, starting with the recycling drop-off site. So what happens when residents drop off these hazardous materials and whatever else? Do you take them down to solid waste? Do you contract out with the city yourself? How does that work with the disposition?
I believe we have multiple contracts with different vendors that take those products from us, the recyclables, the yard waste, the tires. Like tires, they shred them up and reuse those for various things. So, yeah.
So you don't use solid waste at all? You're large enough just to handle all your needs yourself?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The question with the animal shelter, is this, you use the county shelter as well? If there's over too many dogs that are picked up, do you send them to county shelter? What happens with if there's no space?
Yeah, we would contact the county if there's issues. The goal here is to build something large enough that
That's
we don't have
great.
that issue.
Yep.
So it's usually for an animal that an owner can no longer take care of, and we work very hard with our Animal Safety and Welfare Board to promote adoptions, so that wouldn't happen very often, but we would make a call to the
And the
county.
cats, do you euthanize them there or
not.
no? Mm-mm. That was a question that came in. No, this is great. So I fully support the project, and we'll make a motion, if there's no more questions, that this resolution be moved to the next full council meeting for second reading with a recommendation of passage. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much, Mayor, and
much.
good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you.
Chairwoman, may I have my name added
Sure.
to this legislation?
Yeah, I'm going to have my name added to this and the prior one as well. So thank you, Councilman Miller, for bringing this forward from your district, and Councilwoman Conwell for your item in this committee. So the next and final item will be Say Yes 2022-0254. Can that be read into the record?
Resolution number 2022-0254, authorizing an amendment to a memorandum of understanding and agreement among Cuyahoga County, Say Yes Cleveland, Cleveland Metropolitan School District, Breakthrough Public Schools, Near West Intergenerational School, Horizon Science Academy, and College Now Greater Cleveland.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the council. I'm Jennifer Crossman. I'm with the Cuyahoga County Department of Health and Human Services, and I'm here to present an amendment to the Memorandum of Understanding that would be the fourth year to continue our relationship between the county and Say Yes Cleveland, all 96 Cleveland Metropolitan Schools, 4 Breakthrough Public Schools, and 4 separate charter schools. This funding from the county provides 65% of the salary and benefits for a family support specialist in each school, and the schools make up the other 35%. And the family support specialist role is to help refer children and their families for services most commonly to do with food security, mental health, medical, and so much more, especially during the pandemic. We are really excited at the Health and Human Services to have this partnership because it's a unique opportunity for us to have prevention services within the community. As you know, Health and Human Services provides a lot of crisis intervention and safety net services. So the family support specialists help us to provide that type of prevention to help families from becoming involved deeper in HHS systems, particularly the Division of Children and Family Services. And so this would help us. We're really excited about year 4 because this gets us up to our goal of each and every CMSD school, as I said, 96 total, and up to 104 schools total. We've gone from 16 schools in year 1 up to 42 in year 2, 68 in year 3, and now we've reached the goal of 104 schools. So this is a really good opportunity, and I'd like to bring the executive director for Say Yes Cleveland up, unless you have some questions for me first.
I do, and I want to just welcome our Council President Jones to the committee meeting as a member. Are you on this committee? I am. Okay, I thought so. Do we have questions from committee members? Jennifer? Okay, I have questions. Okay, this has to do with county budget and ask you if you can to talk about specifically for e-reimbursement. I have a schedule of what was projected from year one to present and understand that, the 4E has not been able to realize what we expected and what we were presented with in 2018. Are you prepared to present to council today the shortfall each year of what the county has experienced with 4E reimbursement?
I don't have the exact numbers, but you're absolutely correct. We had some conversations with the state, and it definitely wasn't what we expected in terms of reimbursement. We did work out a relationship with the state where they were able to help us with an additional 1.5 million that went to Say Yes Cleveland. And so that will be something that we will be able to offset some of the costs later on. But other than that, we have not been able to get reimbursed except for the services provided to children who are in the custody of DCFS.
Yeah, unfortunately, we were given a presentation that the county would receive up to 74% reimbursement, and that has never even been close to being realized. And in fact, isn't it true that we've had to fill those gaps by way of our Health and Human Service levy funding?
That's correct.
And that was not expected.
No, it was not expected.
And I have to tell you that I've got grave concerns about that we are backfilling this, and we were sold sold a project over these years, and in fact, that's never come to pass. And I'm not sure going forward that it makes sense for us to continue to fund this through our levy when we were promised that we would get the state funding. And what happened specifically with the state funding, if you know? What would happen? There was an expectation of reimbursement up to 74%, and then it just, what's the rationale? What happened at the state?
We received clarification from the state that the law does not allow for the 4E reimbursement. We had been told, we had consulted with federal and with state professionals who had told us otherwise. And so we were under the impression that we were able to get that level of reimbursement through 4E. And then once we started working on this project, we were told that indeed was not the case through the state, and that the reimbursement could not be.
When did you find this out? I mean, obviously the third year, it was significantly different from what was expected. I think we hit, a third of what was expected. And was that ever presented to council that we're backfilling this with levy dollars?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm not aware.
And is it true that county DCFS is losing employees to the program because the salaries are higher at Say Yes?
I believe, yes, that is true. We feel like, again, this is a prevention service that is helping families from becoming deeper involved in the system. So we feel that this is a relationship with the community that we have that helps us get to, helping families out more at the front door and in their communities, in their neighborhoods, rather than becoming deeper involved into an HHS system. So
are we not working against ourselves by funding a program that takes our employees and we don't have our own DCFS workers to be on the front lines?
I think you can look at that in several different ways. I certainly understand what you're saying. We're, in this particular program, we're trying to get kids to the point where they can graduate and receive a scholarship to go on to post-secondary schools. And that isn't possible if they're, not eating the way they should be, or not receiving mental health services or medical services, or things that, again, would drive families into involvement with DCFS and require a DCFS caseworker to go out and investigate and work with the family on an ongoing basis.
Shouldn't we be using our own levy dollars to provide our county with our own employees, staffing levels that are adequate to prevent problems at the county level? Shouldn't that be our first focus?
And we are working very hard.
But we
to get
don't have
the
enough
employees.
DCFS workers. We're losing them. So
there are
how
quite a
does
few
this make
vacancies.
sense that the county cannot perform its core function And then yet we're diverting levy dollars after we were told we would not have to. How does this make sense to continue this?
We're making efforts to make sure that we have enough DCFS caseworkers to be
Shouldn't we pay them
employed,
more?
to get back
Shouldn't
up
we
to
pay
that.
them then match, instead of diverting this money to say yes, and they pay the workers more than our own workers, doesn't it make sense to use levy dollars to pay our own workers instead of sending them out to a third-party entity?
Madam Chair, I'm not able to present any information regarding
Okay.
salary or,
Right.
with all respect,
I
and
understand.
an increase in
You just are at the
salary.
podium, but these are
I
important questions
understand.
that as chair of this committee, I'm going to need answered.
Okay.
So I appreciate the presentation, but these are, core issues for the county that we're certainly been facing. And, to see levy dollars going out the door when we can't keep up here at the county and when we were promised one thing, I don't think the council's ever been presented with the inadequate 4E funding. And, until today, I mean, it's a stark difference from what was presented. I have the presentation from 2018, which gave us a whole, rosy outlook of how little the county would have to provide. And at the end of the day, we're subsidizing and losing our own core function. So I appreciate you coming up here and being on the, that end of the podium. I understand you don't have the answers, but I have to ask these questions that would like you or somebody from the administration to answer. So I'm holding this in committee and would like, we'll give you a list of questions to have answered, but I know we have somebody from Say Yes here. Unless the committee members have any further questions at this point? Okay. So I'm going to have staff send you over some very detailed questions that I
Okay.
would ask the administration to answer.
I appreciate
And I
that. Sure,
appreciate you
understand.
too. And I guess if Say Yes, you're here, Diane, you want to come up and talk a little bit about this, where you're at?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate the opportunity. So my name is Diane Downing, and I'm the Executive Director of Say Yes Cleveland. We are very appreciative to be before you today to talk about Say Yes. And of course, Say Yes has two components. One is the post-secondary scholarships for qualified CMSD and partnering charter students who graduate and live within the boundaries of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District for all 4 years of high school. And the other component is to provide support services for our students from the time they enter pre-K until they graduate from high school. And again, that our hope is our plan has been to be in every CMSD school this year, as well as the partnering charters. So the goal is to have a family support specialist who can get to know students and families, get to know their needs, and provide support services to address them. Because what we believe is that we want our students, our children, to come to school every day prepared to learn and not be distracted by challenges either in the home or with them personally. So we began our process in 2019. We appeared before you that year with our first cohort of 16 schools. As Jennifer said, we then expanded to 42 the second year, 68 in the third year, and now we are before you with legislation to expand to 104. We are, as I said, these support services are available to every student. That is regardless of residency, because the support services are available to everyone. The scholarships are available to those who live within the boundaries of CMSD and attend a CMSD high school or partnering charter high school for all 4 years. I want to introduce Sharice Ryan, who directs our family support specialists and can talk a little bit more specifically about the work that they've been doing this year.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you to the committee for the opportunity to appear before you today. I have the pleasure of working closely with our family support specialists, and I can tell you that in partnership with CMSD, Cuyahoga County's support of our family support specialists has meant improvement in the lives of tens of thousands of students. Our family support specialists change lives every day, providing support, interventions, and referrals to help ensure each student is healthy, safe, engaged, and challenged. The impact they have had already is remarkable. During the last school year, our family support specialists made 10,194 individual referrals for services and support and logged more than 61,000 case notes about individual students and families. On a daily basis, our family support specialists are involved in situations as varied as securing and sometimes delivering food assistance to families in need, getting a tutor for a student struggling with a subject, arranging for free eye exam and free glasses for a child who can't see the blackboard, finding emergency housing for a whole family in crisis, or connecting our partners at Legal Aid and the Bar Association to families fighting eviction. These needs became more urgent when COVID struck, and new challenges were added on top, not at least of which was helping CMSD rapidly distribute to every student the computers and internet access points necessary for remote learning. As COVID has stayed with us, our family support specialists have often been the first line of support as students and families have continued to face lingering impacts of the pandemic. So with your support, we are excited to add more talented, experienced professionals onto the Say Yes Cleveland Family Support Specialist team for the upcoming school year.
And Madam Chair, if I might, I'd just like to introduce our team leads. With the number of family support specialists that we have now, as I said, Sharice leads that work, but and why don't the team leads stand up, if you would. Each of our team leads has a group of 10 that they supervise, as well as do work in their own schools. We have a few people on vacation today, so the full complement is not here, but I just wanted to share how we are organized. I am happy to answer any questions. Madam Chair, I certainly understand your request to Jennifer, but happy to answer any questions about the mechanics of the program.
I don't have any questions regarding the mechanics of the program. Does anybody else? Councilwoman Conwell?
I don't have any questions, but I have to stand with Chair Simon with questions regarding the specific details regarding the Title 4E funds. I had just learned about this, and initially this contract, I think, started out in my committee, and then it went to Sunny's, and then we kind of had a joint committee in regards to it, and that's why I attended today. But I was back there with Sunny as well, and when this was proposed to council, we were never to put in a lot of money, because it was stated back then, and I'm glad she remembers the dates, that you wanted to ramp up to get to more schools. And it was never discussed with us or presented to us that we would be in this financial upswing with continuing it. The Health and Human Service levy dollars, even though the mission, what it does is great, no one can say that it's not, but we emphatically said back then that we knew that we weren't going to be able to keep expanding the family support specialist because they had laid that out for 5 years, what that would look like. And so I'm kind of upset that we don't know about the dollars. Just David's not here, he's out of town, but me just learning about it and Sunny having it in her committee, and I'm glad she investigated it because this just can't go on. I mean, this, when it was stated, you said 2018, we didn't know if we were going to have a HHS levy. We didn't know any of that. So we told you at that point in time that we weren't going to be able to sustain. And so not knowing the communication from the administration to us, we've had the levy, but on other issues, not based on this issue. So I stand with the committee chair in holding this until we can get to the bottom of it.
Thank you. Councilman Miller?
Madam Chair, my question on an operational basis is that I know that the school district with I think some involvement from the county runs closing the achievement gap programs in a number of the CMSD schools, and my question is how does that work relate or is coordinated with this program?
Through the chair to Councilman Miller, the schools that are with closing the achievement gap, and I don't have all of them memorized, I believe that many of them are different and not all Cleveland metropolitan schools, but I know that when there are other programs, linked up with the family support specialist, they work hand in hand because actually there's only one family support specialist in each school. So with the number of children, the expectation that the county has is that they coordinate and that they're not duplicating efforts, but instead working together to help the children in the school.
And Madam Chair, the other thing that I would say is that I was present for all of these presentations from the beginning, and my recollection about the availability of 4E funding for a good portion of the cost was the same as the chairperson's, and that it does raise some very serious questions that we have to learn more about and respond to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council President?
Thank you. Just a little clarity, the closing the achievement gap, clearly two different initiatives and works. They do not overlap contractually, if I might say that way. The closing the achievement gap focuses on the mentors within the local schools in Cleveland of Glenville, East Tech, and I may be missing one, Glenville, East Tech, quite possibly, but most certainly those two schools. Closing the achievement gap, at least the county portion's funding is there. So they certainly parallel in the good work of helping support our children's success, but they're in the pipeline together. Would I say this is more closely to those in college? Well, you know the distinction between CTAG and what Say Yes does, but those again two different programs, and again contractually different. But also I stand with the chair and her comments. It certainly is of concern. Our core function is certainly which is core, and to see the dynamic that's coming from this, it certainly requires a little more investigation, a little more work, a little more due diligence. So I support the council, the chairperson, in her comments.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your good work. So this will be held in committee. We'll be submitting questions to the administration around all of the 4E funding and proposed and where we are, so thank you. Okay, thanks, Jennifer. That being said, I think we've completed the items for our agenda today. I don't have any miscellaneous business, so we're going to adjourn.
Madam Chair.
Oh, wait, yes.
I have a brief item of miscellaneous business, which is that I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Jennifer Grossman for being the first person who served at the Regional Child Abuse Prevention Council and has graciously agreed to go back and serve a second term. She served with distinction, and I'm sure that she will do very well. And she was under the weather when her appointment came up for approval. So I wanted to take this opportunity now to thank her very much for her service in that regard.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Yes, thank you, Jennifer.